Assalamu alaikum, good evening everyone, and welcome to Al-Majlis. Today is our third and last day of Misk Global Forum of 2023. Our session today titled From Clutter to Clarity. The speaker will explore the connection between minimalist mindset and providing the gratitude of life's blessing. Please join me in welcoming our amazing moderator of the day, Ms. Shaima Al-Saif. And please join me in welcoming our special guest for the day, Milica Krsitc. Thank you and enjoy your session.
All right, thank you all for being here today. Our session is titled From Clutter to Clarity, and that's something that I absolutely relate to based on my life, based on my work experience, and based on my attitude towards my work or my tasks on a daily basis, really. Our speaker is absolutely an inspirational figure in the field of psychology and mental health. Her name is Milica Krsitc, and she basically founded a place where people can feel actually comfortable and get to know how they can be the best version of themselves from the comfort of their own home, really. So help me please welcoming Milica Krsitc. Milica, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for availing your time for everybody to actually get to know you a little bit better and get to benefit from your experience. So I'll start by let's get to know you a little bit better. Can you give the audience a bit of a brief of your background and your experience and so on?
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here as well. This is my first time in Saudi. So I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist. I'm passing through a PhD program. So I'm studying PhD in Spain. I'm researching how body-oriented psychotherapy impacts early childhood trauma. I've created a non-profit platform called Safe Space. And the purpose of the platform is to help people who are not able to pay for psychotherapy to have the opportunity to find the support that they need. And for a year and a half, I connected more than 100 psychotherapists around the globe who are providing help for free in 11 languages. And for that period of time, for a year and a half, we helped more than 15,000 people to not commit suicide, to heal depression and anxiety.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really incredible. How did you get to create Safe Space? What was your motivation? How did the idea come to life?
As we all know, in 2020, COVID started, and we were all locked down in our houses. We were not able to go anywhere. You know, we were so stressed and scared. And 7 of my friends that summer in 2020 attempted suicide, and 2 of them committed suicide. Those tragic events motivated me to find a way how I can help people. Because I knew those people. I didn't know that they are suicidal. I didn't know that they're sad, depressed, and that they're dealing with something that is very big for them, that they don't know what can they do. So I was learning how to create a website, connecting people, trying to find a way how to help people. So after almost 2 years, in April 2022, I've created a Safe Space. It was very simple, website, online platform. It was only in Serbian. And how time was passing, we were growing, and now we have so many languages, 11 languages. We have every day 10,000 people entering our website and trying to find the help for free, because we are helping the people who are not able to pay for it. So that motivated me. It's a tragic event, but it helped me to create something big and motivate people to take care of their mental health.
Yeah, that's really that's basically the purpose that you want to have. It's to turn something that's really tragic and bad into something that's actually useful for the majority of people rather than just for one person. Let me kind of take a quick poll. How many of you guys have been to psychotherapy before? How many tried psychology before going into a psychologist? Okay, that's a good number. It's not bad. Uh, I myself have tried it before, multiple times actually. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Not necessarily the right fit, or not necessarily the right time for digging deeper into oneself. How would you emphasize on the importance of mental health? Because I know that the topic itself could be polarizing to people. Some people think it's not that critical for me to think or make it a core value that I need to take care of. And some others think that this is the main priority for me, and I have to bringing all my attention into making sure that my mental health is at the best that it can be. So for the both parties, how would you characterize the importance of mental health?
Mental health, it's equally important as physical health. So we need to take care of it as well as we are doing for physical health. So newly researches that we have in 21st century are showing us that if we suppress our emotions, we are leading ourselves in a long term in a physical or mental health illness. What does that mean? We have four primary emotions: anger, sadness, fear, and happiness. And these new age philosophies in 21st century somehow sometimes force us to be just happy. And they present that if we are happy, we are good.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand that well, and they think that they need to suppress the rest. So we have three negative emotions that are primary emotions. We need to feel them in order to be healthy. So in order to be healthy, you need to feel whole spectrum of those four emotions, not to suppress anger, sadness, and fear, and to be in touch with that, to allow yourself to feel it, express it in a assertive way, of course, in order to be mentally healthy. Stigma is huge. People think that if they show weakness and show that they're vulnerable, that means that they're weak, bad, soft people. And they're shy. They feel ashamed to seek help. And they think that people will laugh at them, like, you're weak, you cannot do it alone by yourself. But the truth is, only strong and brave people are the ones who are seeking help. You know, the ones who say, hey, I want to be better, I want to change something, can you help me do that? And on psychotherapy, we have a very important thing. What is happening? We see ourselves, we meet ourselves in psychotherapy. So we're dealing about the deepest, most difficult things that we're dealing with. We bring that at the table and we talk about that. You need to be brave to do that. So it's very brave to go to psychotherapy to seek help, and it's good to do that because in that way you're taking care of yourself.
Okay. How many here have been interested in going into psychotherapy but never actually got the chance to try it? Okay, that's also a good number. And you now have a resource as well.
Yes, we are providing free psychotherapy in English, and hopefully in next 3-4 months we will provide free psychotherapy in Arabic.
Amazing. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
So let's kind of connect it to the topic of the session, which is from clutter to clarity. I know that I've experienced this a lot in my life, that I get busy with the urgent things rather than the important things in my life. And I spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of emotions, even a lot of investment into everything that actually comes up, rather than being able to decide that this is where I want to put my effort and this is where I want to improve or change and so on. So how would you address these kind of prioritization from psychological perspective, from prioritization perspective?
When we talk about prioritization, so it's important to mention that we need to see what is most important for us and then for others. Because if we first check what is more important for others, then we put ourselves on the second place. And that we feel that little tiny anger or frustration that is rising. And we feel it, but we ignore it. In the long term, that becomes a problem, mental or physical health problem. The thing is, when we prioritize, we need to first check, are we a priority? And then what is happening after us? If we are not our priority, then we need to see how we can change that. Of course, if we have children, sometimes children are at the first place for priority. It's important to know that if we give, we need to give, others, but ourselves as well. So that need to be in balance. Many people have a problem to seek for help. They feel ashamed to say, hey, I need help, can you help me? And the sensation in body is weak, less important. What we are doing through everything that I'm doing, basically through safe space and safe contact, is that we are encouraging people to say, hey, I need help. It's so human, it's so normal. So we prioritize people to be humans. That's a priority. And that's authentic feeling of being human, to say that you have a struggle, that you need help, that something is not okay, but that just means that you're human, and that's fine.
I completely agree. I think the most difficult part of actually getting help is admitting to oneself that you actually need that help. It's kind of an admission, and I understand the difficulty of it because it's an admission of weakness in a specific time of your life, and an admission of an emptiness in a specific area of your life, and that could be a bit heavy on someone's psyche to actually go and find the right resources to benefit from and to fill that emptiness as well. I think I'm just sharing a part of my experience when I actually got to benefit from going into psychotherapists. It was only working when I was truly ready to take steps to change what needed to be changed. So it's not only being ready to talk about it, but also being ready to make changes and take steps into moving into the next stage of whoever my personality is going to be and whoever I was going to be. And I think that's a very difficult, but the most probably important journey one can have in terms of getting to know oneself and getting to be a better version of yourself.
Exactly, and before you mentioned that it's difficult to find the right person for you to work with, I just wanted to add something. It's so true, because there are so many people who are doing different kind of supports, emotional support, life coaching, counseling, psychotherapy. It's important to research to find what's the best for you, because there are so many things on plate, and we need to feel, is that a good thing for us? Do we feel better after that? Or we feel, not well?
Not so well.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you try it and then it just doesn't fit you and you try another time.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a famous quote that I think everybody has used it at least once in their life, which is less is more. And that, I think it applies in some situations, but not necessarily in all situations. But when we talk about the busyness of everyday life, do you think actually less is more? How do you feel about that concept of minimalistic, basically, and reducing the noise and clutter in your life? How do you think that impacts our psyche?
Minimalism is a great thing, and I agree with that quote, that less is more. I wanted to share a story. In 2020, when was COVID time, I was sitting at home, nothing was working, and I was researching, what can I study? What can I research, learn something new skill or something like that? I came up with the idea to study little tiny course in Malaysia, 6 months of Feng Shui, to learn how to declutter my house, to clean it, because I'm sitting home and I'm not doing anything. So I was like, okay, let's learn Feng Shui.
Very fitting.
Yeah. After 6 months, I was fascinated, because the core of Feng Shui is minimalism, clean spaces, white walls, open spaces, and okay, it's not connected with psychotherapy, but it showed me that was the first step when I realized that minimalism is something amazing. Before that, I was like having so many little tiny things, collecting, doing hoarding, you know.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm guilty of that.
After that, I realized how it's important to declutter your space in order to declutter your mind, and it's actually connected. Of course, I was studying and I'm experiencing and working as a psychotherapist and helping people to declutter their mind, but it's important as well to have it in front of you as well inside of you. So, yeah, less is more. And in the 21st century, there are so many social medias, notifications and informations and stimulations that are taking us from us.
Yeah.
And if we are present in this current situation and this moment, we're not minimalistic,
Yeah.
but we are there for ourselves and we can feel ourselves better. And that's the most important. So less is more, meaning if you're not doing anything and you're just breathing, you have everything. So yeah, less is more. People sometimes say that breathing is boring, but we're alive because we breathe.
It's kind of essential.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. But so I'll go back to this. How would you declutter, since you mentioned that it's internal and external at the same time? So how would you declutter your thoughts, regardless of the daily routine stuff that we have? My thoughts always race. My thoughts is always, I'm always busy with something or another. So how would you advise on decluttering your thoughts and kind of if you have any practices to get you to be present in the moment?
Very often I suggest people to journal their thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. So we have a mind and body, but actually it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The mind, if it cannot proceed the traumatical events, it suppresses those trauma in body. So by moving your body, new research is showing that you can heal your trauma by dancing, by hitting, by moving your body, because trauma is stored there. So what I wanted to say, just a second, my thought went away.
It happens all the time.
So body and mind are the same, and if we stop for a second throughout the day in our busy lives while we are running for things and receiving mailing notifications, reading news, if we stop for a second, take 3 minutes to take your book, take your pen and write with it. How do you feel? What kind of sensations in body? Are you sweating? Is there some pain? What is happening in your body? What you are feeling? What emotion you are feeling? So is it anger, sadness, fear, or happiness? And what thoughts you are having? Are you thinking, where I will go next? What will I wear? So when you journal those thoughts, when you are in touch with yourself, then you know what's happening inside. And then you are decluttering by knowing. So you cannot declutter if you don't know what's happening inside. So the first step is to know how you feel and where are you. Maybe you're stressed and you don't even think about that, but your body's in a pain. And then when you stop for a second, you realize that you're in a huge pain. But from the busyness and all the things that are happening, you don't realize that you are so stressed.
Yeah, you become preoccupied, you're hyper-focused on what's in front of you without actually noticing what's inside of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so by the way, we're going to open the floor for Q&A, so if you have something, prepare it. I just have a couple more questions from Milica, and then we're going to go for the Q&A. So for me, I kind of am relating between the decluttering and the prioritization. Even when times that I know that there is something that's very important that I need to be focusing on, I get hyper-focused into achieving. I just want to achieve. I want to cross things off of my to-do list, basically. And it becomes a bit difficult to rearrange these thoughts and rearrange these priorities, even in life with family, friends, work, personal life, even downtime. So what kind of practices can we do? I know you've mentioned breathing or journaling as well, but what kind of practices can I do on the run, if there is any?
On the run?
Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is during work hours, for example, what kind of thing can I do to kind of calm down, recenter myself?
Take a break. It's very simple. But when you say that, people are like, okay, that's like, I knew that.
Yeah.
But no one is taking a break. So I'm going
Very
in
true.
conferences around the globe. I'm speaking on social media. I'm going on TV every day. At morning, you will see me in Serbia on TV. And I say, take a break. No one is taking a break. Like people need to write down in their schedules, take a break. And then when they sit, they snooze alarm and then continue to work.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
it's happening.
That's true.
And when I say take a break, everybody rolls their eyes. But to write down to take a break and to actually do that is half of your mental health. What research is showing that if you're working, let's say 8 hours, in Serbia we work 8 hours, so it's 40 hours a week from Monday to Friday. So as much as you work, you should rest the same. People work 8 hours, then they rest 1 hour, and the rest, they lay down and scroll their phones.
Yeah.
They're not in touch with themselves. They don't know those people most of the time, and they're not with themselves. They're not spending time. They're not healing. They don't have nice conversations with other people. They're just numb because they're dead tired.
Yeah.
And they're trying the way to don't feel anything. So rest doesn't mean scroll social media. Take a break means walk for 40 minutes. Read nice book. I don't know, go for a run, swim, whatever it is. Everybody has a different kind of things that they like, that are their resources to get back to themselves. But do something that will help you to feel better after that. Of course, if we take a break by going in gym, we will be tired after that.
Of course.
For sure. But the thing is, when I say take a break, try to see what is for you break and how you can recover, not get more tired. Very often people take a break, go in gym, or just lay down in bed and they're so tired that they cannot move how tired they are.
Yeah.
But it's a creativity to find a way how you can recharge yourself while you're taking a break, not to be worse after that. So the whole theory with taking a break is that just take a break, do that. Not
Take
just
an actual
hear me,
break.
yeah, and that's it. No, really do it.
And I think that's kind of expected as well, that when we take a break, or at least for the always on people, when you take a break, there is something else that you want to get accomplished, and there is something else that you want to focus on and get it done. And that's not the purpose of a break, really. The purpose of a break is for you to engage with the 4 emotions that you mentioned and understand them, and build from that to become a better person and to feel better at the moment and in the long term
Exactly.
as well.
There is one toxic emotion called guilt. And very often people, when they take a break, they feel guilty because they're resting. Can you imagine that? So you give yourself approval. Okay, now you can go take a break. And then you're taking a break and you feel bad about yourself because you're doing that. Very often it happens to people. So it's important to understand that, realize it's happening and then change something about it. By yourself or seek help.
Yeah.
See what will help you to be better.
So the 4 good emotions kind of to feel and to understand are happiness, anger, fear, and sadness. Then
yes.
stay away from guilt.
Yes.
Try to stay away from guilt.
From shame and guilt. Though toxic. Those 2 are very toxic.
Okay, interesting. All right, so my last question before we open the floor for Q&A is talking a bit about gratitude. So, which kind of relates to guilt as well. A lot of people think that if I am doing less, if I'm decluttering, or if I'm not prioritizing or not appreciating what I have, then I'm not being grateful. I'm not being thankful for all the blessings that I have. But at the same time, there is a misconception of when you reprioritize, you're actually bringing something that's more important to the surface to get a bit more value out of it and give it a bit more value. So in terms of gratitude, how do you align between being thankful and decluttering and reprioritizing?
You can do both. You can have less is more. You can have minimalism in your life, and you can be grateful. So for me, being grateful means appreciate what you have and respect that. How I practice gratefulness? By saying thank you. It's very simple. People made theories of that, but the end, it's just how you said, shukran.
Yes,
Okay.
shukran.
How many times you repeat that, it's basically how grateful you are for the chair where you are sitting, for the sanctuary where you are living, for all the possibilities that are happening around you, for health, for everything that is around you. So people want to be grateful, but they don't say thank you. It's very easy. Have that theory of your life that less is more, or a hoard, like do the hoarding, like collecting stuff. But the thing is, say thank you. Say thank you for what you have. And in a specific way, I am grateful for this water. I'm grateful for having this conversation. I'm grateful to be in Saudi, as example,
Yeah.
So that's the way of expressing gratefulness, respecting and appreciating what you have. It's basically my definition of gratefulness. Maybe it's not right, but for me works. There is one ancient technique from Hawaii called Ho'oponopono. And they deeply
Can you say
believe...
that again?
Ho'oponopono.
Oponopono. Okay.
What they do, they constantly repeat in their minds, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They train themselves. While I'm talking as example with you, I can repeat in my head, thank you, thank you, thank you. They deeply believe by doing that, and thank you and I love you. They use those two words. They heal past programs, traumas, bad things, etc. And they deeply believe in it, and it works for them. So they're just repeating thank you, thank you, thank you, and they heal.
That is really amazing.
It's so interesting.
That's really amazing, and it's so simple. It's
Yeah.
really simple, and it has a lasting effect. And I think this is actually kind of relates to our culture and our religion as well. We have the tasbiha, which is basically you repeat the same thing multiple times at every time, really, at every time of the day. And we have alhamdulillah, which is thank God. And that kind of shows gratefulness for everything that's around you. Just alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So I'm really, really grateful for your time and for all the information that we got from you. And I'd be more grateful for the questions that could come from the audiences as well. So we have a few questions here. Can anybody give the mic here? It's coming. 1 second. All right, if you can speak up, maybe. I'm not sure where the mic is. Yeah. There we go.
Here we go.
I think one of the most requirements to have good mental health is to be present. How to be present? And I think it will take a lot of practice, but what small action we can take to be present? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Since I'm a body-oriented psychotherapist under supervision, in my practice, we deeply believe that you practice to be present by putting your conscious into your feet. What does that mean? To put both of your hand on the ground. I'm in heels now, so you don't that in the... You put barefoot on the ground, and you put your conscious to your foot. And you think of grounding. So basically, the best way to practice grounding is to put your conscious down into your body, feel your body, touch your body, because it's a very important part of yourself. Very often when people talk about mental health, they think about only brain and thoughts, but actually our body is a very important part of us, and you can practice to be present by just thinking about your body, putting your focus to your feet, moving them, and by practicing grounding day to day, you will be more present. That's simple exercise, but it helps a lot. You're welcome.
I wanted to ask, when it comes to being overly stimulated or burnt out or overworked, you reach function paralysis where you can't get the smallest tasks done. What small ways or ways to cope are there to prevent that from happening other than just don't overwork?
Take a
That's not
break,
really
other
an
than taking a break as well.
Taking a break, but like still working as hard, but finding ways to cope with that without being overly stimulated and stop functioning at some point.
You mean like work a lot, then burn, and then stop? You don't want to reach that destination, so you want to prevent that?
Preventing function paralysis, where you reach a point where you can't even respond to an email, from going to working 12 hours a day in a night, perhaps.
Like I said, journaling, to know where you are at which point. So if you don't know that you're burned out, and then in 2 weeks you realize that you're dead tired, that you cannot open your computer and repeat your answer on your email, then you know there is a problem. So if you prevent and in advance realize that you are exhausted, that you're tired, that you don't have energy to wake up at morning, not to answer the email, by journaling you will realize where you are, you know. Are you sad? Are you, without energy? When you're writing, you track, you analyze, and then you know where you are at. And when you know where you are at, you don't get yourself to burned out moment, because you can prevent it by knowing how you are, how you actually feel. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, thank you.
And if I can add something here relating to the feeling of guilt, don't feel guilty to be late. It's fine. That's how I've been feeling the whole... right before I get to burnout, I always feel very guilty about not getting things done, not finishing on time, not being able to balance. But it's okay. It's fine. Everybody has a limit of their capacity, and once you reach it, you have to recharge, and you should not be feeling guilty about that.
Exactly. You said it perfectly, so I agree. We had more questions behind.
Questions?
So quickly, I wanted to know, in your perspective, how important it is for your environment. How does your environment actually affect your mental health? You know, when you see patients and stuff, how important is it to not go back to a burning building while you see them? I just wanted to kind of know the effect of, just your environment on your mental health.
Environment has a huge impact on us, and everything that is happening, not just in world, but every time you enter in your phone and open your social media, it has an impact, How social media are created? They're constantly changing the way and direction where you are going. One post makes you happy, another makes you cry. And you're constantly in that loop. And of course, they're doing that to make you stay there and spend more time on social media. But that affects your mental health. And in a long run, you end up depressed, because we're all human. We need to have extremely strong boundaries to protect ourselves, to say, I don't want to watch anything about the war in order to be healthy, but then I will not be informed, So it's like difficult to make that kind of boundaries, because we all have need to be informed. But the end, it's, for me, the best experience and practice that I'm doing, my screen time is 1 hour.
Wow.
That's it. No more than 1 hour. Because if I exceed that 1 hour, in 2 weeks I will, I don't know, cry more. I will need to sleep more in order to rest. I'll be weaker, because it's taking me from me. It's taking my energy. And I really can't, I can try to change something, but at the end, I cannot, I need to see how can I protect myself. I hope that this was, thank you.
We have a few more.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, good evening, everybody. Just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayyar, so I'm a physician. So thank you for the wonderful moderator and speaker. You've shared a lot of valuable golden nuggets. I have a few comments, if you'd allow me, and then a follow-up question. So the comment, first of all, we've noticed a trend over the past at least 10, 15 years from going from physical injuries, physical ailments, and now we're seeing a lot more of mental health challenges. Although there's a stigma, but in clinical practice, that's what we're really seeing. More mental health issues across the spectrum, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, lots of things that were not diagnosed. So I think it's a valuable tool to have to address this issue. So thank you for doing that for the less privileged individuals. The second comment I want to add is you mentioned the 4 emotions or 4 main emotions, and I think that's a very key takeaway because we see a lot of people focused on just the happiness aspect, feeling happy and the pursuit of happiness. But you forget that the rest of the emotions are actually a necessity and requirement for your actual survival and to flourish. So without fear, you'll probably get into an accident a lot easier, and without sadness, you'd probably get depressed a lot faster. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, and I think that's a key takeaway for the audience. And the third point I wanted to mention about, without hogging the microphone, is the gratitude part. So I think you touched about the thank you, and I think that's the appreciation in my humble understanding. I think the gratitude, as you said, like saying thank you for our blessings, which we have many of, is very important. And it's the single most important thing that I've seen in practice that has changed outcomes of individuals and meaningful gratitude. So don't just say alhamdulillah or thank you just like haphazardly. Tie it to something meaningful to you. I think that's going to add a lot of value in your life. There's so many things I want to talk about, but I don't want to take too much time. Last point, and segue into the question: your effort of allowing basically free service to the less privileged. How can you scale that in the life and day-to-day activities that we live in, a business world where everybody asks, what's the bottom line, what's the dollar sign? So, and how can we help?
Thank you so much for everything that you said. We are trying to find a way how to inform and educate companies who have a lot of employees, how to take care of them. Because a lot of mental illness, through my research, I realized that people had problem at their work, and what happens is that they bring that problem to their home, and that the children listen to that problems, and it's a circle that goes around. And if we stop mental illness at work, we are cutting the path that is happening. So what we need to do is to educate HR, human resources departments, people who are working in companies as CEOs and staff organizations, to let them know how serious it is. Because if we don't talk how we feel, we are creating a problem, not just for them, but for everyone, because we are then creating a society that will have more mental health problems, and we want healthy society. So thank you for everything, but yeah, I don't know how we can scale, but first we need to educate, and that's what I'm doing. I'm working with companies and educating them and employees to take care of their employees. That's investment. People still think, CEOs, top management, that investment in mental health of their employees is not investment, but I'm teaching them that it is. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask some question here?
We still have a couple of more minutes to get a question or two. Sorry, who is speaking?
I don't see.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Good evening. My name is Aisha. We talk about a lot of meaning of break and how can we take a break, but a lot of people, they don't know how they reward themselves. They just be guilty for a lot of things. But when we get good things, they do not know how they reward themselves. So do you have any advice for that?
I didn't understand well your question. How we reward ourselves?
Yeah.
So if I understood you correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, basically when we take a break, usually it should be to rejuvenate. But we don't necessarily know how to do that. Not everybody has a specific hobby or a specific thing that kind of releases their tension or pressure. And
Yes, that's what I mean. Thank you.
Sorry, I always like to make sure that I understood question, because I realize that I have somehow the moment to speak about something else. So I always like to check, did I understood well? So thank you. We don't need to do any, we don't need to have a hobby to take a break. Like I like to read, then I'll take a break in order to read. You can do whatever you like. But I'm just saying, what I wanted to say is social media is not the break.
It's not the release.
It's not the release. It's not recharging. It's not recovery. It's the waste. And we can do whatever we like in our take a break time, free time. But it's important the purpose of that is to recover. So we need to find out, to research with ourselves, what is that? For some people is looking at one spot. Literally, some people rest by looking at one spot. There are some certain types of therapies for people who had a burnout. They sit in rooms without the noises and without sounds in order to slow down so much and to put that tension in their neurosystem, put them down, so they're literally without any stimuli. So they're just sitting down and like breathing and recovering. So recovering can be whatever we choose to be, but we need to research what is for us the best in order to recover. And
so recovery time does not necessarily need to induce happiness. It can basically just reduce the stressors and reduce the sources of tension, if I got it right.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can have one more question. We have a few here. Yeah.
Hello. So thank you for the moderator and the speaker for the insightful and engaging speech. So my question is, how would you support family or friends in navigating the stigma towards depression or mental health?
Very slow. Very slowly, I'll start by talking about how do you feel. So stigma is huge. If you start to talk and push them to talk about depression, anxiety, emotions, some deep topics, of course they will immediately run away and they will reject the topic, because stigma is really huge, not just here, everywhere in the world, in the United States, everywhere. Maybe some people are different and someone is more open, some countries, but trust me, I work like 10 years I'm in this and I know what is happening. So basically, how are you? Start to ask people, how are you? And to wait for answer. If they say, good, you? No, ask them, how are you really? And then you listen. Then they'll ask you, and you have a real conversation. Very often we say, how are you? Good, you? Good, you? That's it.
Done.
Nothing is happening. So you change stigma by asking, how are you? Listening what person said, then reply, and then you have a real conversation, and then you start to dig deeper by looking in eyes. When you speak with someone, looking in eyes is where you see someone's soul, how they really feel. Because people sometimes say good you, and you see tears in eyes.
And they just roll away, yeah.
So yeah, that's the first tiny little step that I will make to try to break the stigma.
Interesting. All right. Do we have Any other questions? We do have quite a few. Let me check the time. Are we good on time? We're good? All right, let's take another one.
5 minutes.
All right, we can take another one then.
Hi, thank you for everything. This has been honestly so informative. I just wanted to ask, you spoke about when we do rest and how it shouldn't be just scrolling on social media and to actually rejuvenate ourselves. But sometimes when you are so exhausted, it can be very difficult to do anything else. And the option where you're not really thinking, you don't have to focus on anything, can be easier, even though it's harmful in the long term. So I wanted to ask, is there any advice that you have or any tips on how to, when you're in that very low point and you're very exhausted, to actually make the right choice, even if it's literally doing nothing as opposed to scrolling on your phone?
You mean when you're exhausted, like you touch the last?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so very slow, tiny, little, gentle steps. If you touch the ground and you're very exhausted, tired, you don't have motivation, energy, and will to do anything, in theory, we call that depression. But generally in life, everybody, we pass through that. It's life, But we don't call that depression when it happens to us. We call it sad, bad, difficult day, I got tired or whatever. But we all have a different ways how we can wake up us, motivate ourselves, see what we can do to stand up, to get motivation. It's very interesting that very often what motivates us is anger. Because anger is emotion that has the strongest potential. What does that mean? So when you get angry, you finish things faster. Because if you have a coin, on one side there is anger, on another side is strength, power. So if you're in touch with your anger and you, like I said previously, allow yourself to feel other emotions, primary healthy emotions, you allow yourself to get in touch with your power. So if you let yourself to feel fear, sadness, and anger, you allow yourself to be authentic, then it actually means that you know what drives you and how you can motivate yourself. So, long story short, allow yourself to feel all those four, and then you will be able to know what you need to do in order to, okay, I know what to do, to have that little tiny step that will return you to plus. If we have, what is the name of the
scale, you mean?
Yeah, that is
scale, step by step.
Yeah, step by step, but I forgot the word in English, but it's okay. So generally what I wanted to say, we all have plus and minus. So if you end in deep minus, you need to know and learn what are those steps that you will make to return into the balance, because the purpose of our life is to be in balance, not to be in extreme plus or in extreme minus. We need to be at zero, around zero. That's homeostasis, how we call it. So that's what we are going, what's the purpose? Everything that we do in order to be in balance, not to be in extreme plus. Because health is around homeostasis, around zero, not around plus.
So actually, just following up on that, a few years ago I read a book that's called Target 100. And the essence of the book basically says target 100 minutes of the day for you. Be it drinking water, or sleeping, or reading a book, or doing something that you actually enjoy. The target is 100. That means that you can start with 1 second. So as you mentioned, basically every small step actually matters, and every small step brings in another step that comes after it, and that's how you strengthen your relationship to the four feelings: anger, fear, sadness, and happiness, and kind of get away from the toxicity of guilt and shame.
Exactly.
All right, thank you guys very much for all the questions, and thank you, Milica, for your time and for your insights. I think this is a session that I'm truly, truly grateful for.
Me too. Thank you so much.